I just left that 49ers practice field, and this is really cool. Raheem Morris actually did it. Jaden Duggar, the rookie linebacker, played with the edge rushers and even had a sack during practice today. We'll talk a lot more about that and the 7-foot wingspan of Duggar. First, some relieving news for all of you. The Mike Evans quad strain, which kept him out of practice today, is not considered serious. I said this a couple hours ago on social media. He would not have done a long interview with KMBR this morning had that been a serious injury. So Evans basically held out as a precaution. Same with Deommodore Stribling, who continues to have hamstring tightness. The 49ers returned 2 defensive linemen to practice today, much to the delight of Kyle Shanahan. Romelo Height and CJ West both out there. That is 49ers CEO Al Guido and GM John Lynch next to Shanahan, who is more and more involved. That is good news with each of these practices. He broke down the post-practice huddle today, and Kyle seems to be standing closer and closer to the action as his concussion heals. This right here, that is New York Knicks head coach Mike Brown, who happens to be a big 49ers fan.
49ers clinched a spot in the playoffs. Way to go, Kyle. Way to go, baby. Way to go, Ninerland. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll take that.
Now, Brown's son, Cameron Brown, pictured here with the pads on, is a defensive quality control assistant. Congratulations again to Mike on the recent NBA championship with the New York Knicks. All right, back to Jaden Duggar. This is him working again with those edge rushers. A 7-foot wingspan for Jaden Duggar. Athletically matches up favorably with somebody like Micah Parsons, a very versatile defender. And we know that Duggar has played safety in college. He played edge rusher for a season at Louisiana Lafayette, and then he moved to stack linebacker, where he started for this first week with the 49ers. But now, given some of that attrition at edge, we see Jaden Duggar working with those defensive ends. Maybe a Julian Peterson type of player. Who knows? He's got a whole lot of potential with that length. All right, because of the injuries at receiver, I wanted to go through all of them here. That's Demarcus Robinson leading the way. Of course, Deebo Samuel made a few more plays today for the 49ers. Jacob Cowing now wearing the number 6. I've got an interesting note on him coming up. Here's Jordan Watkins, has bulked up this season. And now Ji'Ayir Brown, who I think is really challenging Jacob Cowing, even though he dropped that pass for a 53-man roster spot. Wesley Grimes, the rookie. Here's the veteran Trenton Irwin, CMC's teammate back at Stanford. Another rookie here, Will Pauling, undrafted free agent out of Notre Dame. And this is Malik Turner, a really good gunner, veteran for the 49ers. That is Colton Dowell, 84, another veteran, big receiver. And Ji'Ayir Brown went back to do the drill again to make sure that he caught the football this time. Junior's been making a lot of catches. Now, in general, these 49ers practices, especially today, are a reminder of how damn good Brock Purdy is. He's down his top 3 receivers today, right? He didn't have Mike Evans, quad strain, as I said, not serious. Didn't have Ricky Pearsall. Unfortunately, he's done for the season. And didn't have Deommodore Stribling, whom the 49ers are being very careful with. I thought back to that playoff game, the wild card game at Philadelphia, where Brock Purdy was working with a skeleton crew and still somehow willed the 49ers to victory. Now today, Purdy and Demarcus Robinson had an excellent connection. There was a really nice layered deep out that Purdy delivered to Robinson. There are also some plays where Purdy was moving around. Mike Evans, speaking on KMBR this morning, said that Purdy is very underrated, as I've been saying for years, when it comes to his movement ability, his ability to manipulate the pocket. And when you don't have your top receivers out there, as the 49ers haven't over the past 2 years, the way that you can stay at the top of the league in efficiency as a quarterback is by extending plays so that your receivers have more time to get open. And we've certainly seen some of that from Brock Purdy at practice. Now let's go through all that happened on that practice field. Demarcus Robinson, as I said, was Purdy's favorite receiver. That feathered deep out pass, they've got the chemistry down on the plays that stretch the field horizontally, and with a deep out, you're also stretching it vertically. It takes quite a bit of arm strength and touch to get a throw like that in there. One of them, though, Deommodore Lenoir, who was on KMBR this morning saying that he's as locked in as he's ever been, notched another pass breakup. 2 PBUs for Lenoir, who I think is playing his most noticeable football as far as pass breakups go of his entire career when it comes to training camp. And he had a nice pass breakup against Robinson, but also one against Jake Tonjes. Speaking of Jake Tonjes, Ji'Ayir Brown, 49ers veteran safety, had a pass breakup against him in the back of the end zone. Ji'Ayir has been getting in on some good plays defensively. A lot of people questioned his ability to start this year. I think that he's on a very good track to start this year. Here's what Ji'Ayir Brown had to say about this scheme of defensive coordinator Raheem Morris.
Raheem's dope, bro. Super dope. He wants football players, you know. Previous schemes we've been in haven't wanted that, you know. Raheem wants you to play football. He wants instinctive players. He wants guys who can just, you know, get out there and play ball and read the quarterback. So scheme fits all of us, man, and it's been great to see us transition into this explosive D-back unit.
A little bit of a feisty quote from Ji'Ayir Brown. Remember, this is somebody who ran a 4.6 40 coming out of Penn State, but also had 10 interceptions over his final 2 college seasons, so he was not a remarkable athlete coming out, but he was a good, instinctive football player. Remember last year, there was a big focus on just getting the best athletes at safety under Robert Saleh. I think that goes back to the Earl Thomas days of Seattle. Just want a guy with a 4.2 or a 4.3 flying out of center field in that eraser position. Raheem Morris, who probably knows and is better with DBs than Robert Saleh. I mean, Morris played safety at Hofstra, and he's been a DB-oriented guy. He was the assistant DB coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when John Lynch was in that room as a player. Raheem Morris, as you heard Ji'Ayir Brown say, he likes football players. He likes the instincts there, and perhaps the scheme is a little bit more simplified to that degree and ready for somebody like Ji'Ayir Brown to take the next step in a contract year. He has been good so far, including that pass breakup that I just told you guys about against Jake Tonjes in the back of the end zone. Best play today came from Brayden Willis, the tight end for the 49ers. Mac Jones, working against the second team defense, threw a deeper corner out to Brayden Willis, who reached out and made a sensational one-handed grab. And he fired up the crowd with that catch. One of the nicest catches of training camp. Now, it's going to be hard to beat Mike Evans skying up over Upton Stout the other day, but that was a very, very good play from Brayden Willis. First time that I saw a true, clean pass breakup from the rookie Ephesians Prysock, the 6'3" cornerback out of the University of Washington, working against junior Bergen, who's only 5'9". Now, Bergen making a lot of plays, I think is going to challenge Jacob Cowing for a spot on this 49ers 53-man roster because he's making more plays than Jacob Cowing, but there was one that he didn't make when Ephesians Prysock, the much taller cornerback, you know, the 49ers love the length. That could be a theme of this show. They love the length of Jaden Duggar. They definitely love the length of Ephesians Prysock. We did a lot talking about him this offseason after I called up Jed Fish, his coach of both Arizona and Washington. It's a guy with a lot of starting experience in college, just like most of this 49ers draft class. If they need to dig into cornerback depth, maybe somebody like Ephesians Prysock, given the technique that he was able to pick up starting 4 years in college, might be ready sooner rather than later. And he did make that splash today. Now, let's go back to Bergen and let's hear from 49ers special teams coordinator Brant Boyer on San Francisco's punt return competition.
You know, there's a handful of guys, and to be honest with you, you know, hopefully somebody emerges. You know, I think, you know, Cowing, Pauling, Watkins, you know, all those guys are back there. Junior Bergen. So there's a big handful of guys, and you know, hopefully they can make great decisions and catch the ball first and foremost, and that's what's most important. Pauling's got a really good skill set. There's a lot of guys that have good skill sets. It's a matter of can they make the right decisions? Can they block a gunner when they're supposed to? Can they let a ball hit the ground when they're supposed to? Can they go up and catch a fair catch it when they're supposed to? There's a lot more that goes into it than just returning the ball. But you know, I think that those guys that we're trying to find the guy that has the whole package that we can count on every week, that can catch the ball and make great decisions.
Boyer obviously is not going to give us all too much as far as how the competition is going, but if Bergen offers more offensively and he's made more plays than Cowing, you talk about instinctive football players. He might not be as fast as Cowing, but I just think that Bergen has looked more comfortable running over the middle, making some tough catches. They're both about the same height. They're both shorter receivers. If he looks more comfortable there, and if he has ironed out some of the issues that he had returning punts, I know he muffed one during the preseason last year, but he was a great returner for Montana in college. It is very plausible to see Junior Bergen getting a 53-man roster spot, because punt returner is a very, very important role. New 49ers running back Khalil Herbert wearing number 40. Now, there are injuries to two running backs. Kalen Black has an adductor injury, so he's going to be out for a little bit. No firm timeline on the rookie, who looked so explosive to begin this training camp. And Jordan James is dealing with a broken rib. That meant the 49ers needed to bring in another running back. They brought in a veteran, that is Khalil Herbert, who, bowling ball type of frame. You don't want to tackle this guy. It's not fun to tackle somebody who's 5'9", 215. His very first run today, thudded up. Like I felt that the running back was dishing out the contact, thudded up a couple of the 49ers middle-level defenders. He's also going to be in the mix when it comes to returning kicks for San Francisco. Deebo Samuel might have that job full-time. Brant Boyer was very, very excited when the 49ers signed Deebo. Now, remember that the 49ers special teams unit made big strides last season. Like huge strides, from the very worst in the league in 2024 to probably the second best in the league. It depends on which ranking you look at, but the 49ers, under their new special teams coordinator, were much better. And Boyer said that unit is now far ahead of where it even was last year.
There's a lot of things that is different about this year, obviously, but specifically Eddie. I think that there was so much going back and forth on what was going to happen and things like that it's good to have a guy that has done it for me before and for quite a while. So he did a great job last year and couldn't have done a better job. So he's worked on some things this offseason. I think he's come pretty far in quite a few things. He's worked on his kickoffs and you can tell he's worked in the offseason despite getting his contract, and I was happy as hell to see him get paid for his work. He's worked a long time and stuff like that, but I'm really happy for the guy, and I think that everybody knows that they can count on him, and so it's in a good situation. But as far as me coming last year and being in the second year of the system, everything, all the schemes, what Colt and Ronnie do a great job of helping me with, all the schemes, all the stuff, they've been in that for a year. So where we are on punt team and our return schemes and everything are way ahead of where we were last year. And so, they have experience of all the situational stuff that I'm giving them. So it's a welcome relief, that's for sure.
Nick Martin, second-year linebacker. I've been wanting to talk about him more. There's just so much to go over with this 49ers team, but he's quietly been at that third linebacker spot with the first team, which is a good sign. It's a position that he worked his way up to last year, but then he suffered that concussion, which lingered against the Cleveland Browns. But today, Nick Martin dropped an interception, but he was in correct position, which is a good sign. Curtis Rourke threw the football. And then later, there was a short pass to Kyle Juszczyk from Brock Purdy, and Martin was right there to make the stop. Could have been a big hit in a real game. Speaking of Juszczyk, we know that he offered Deebo Samuel his guest house a few weeks ago, and now Deebo's signed. So did George Kittle. Here's Kyle Juszczyk on wanting Deebo Samuel.
Deebo's the best. He's such an incredible teammate. He's such a good friend. He's an incredible football player. So we're really happy to have him in the locker room just because he brings the best vibes and positivity. But we're also happy to have him on the field because he's still got juice and he still can go out there and make good plays. He came in, he looks like he's in phenomenal shape. His first day in pads, he's making an impact right away and just looked like the old Deebo. So I can't say enough positive things about how excited we are to have him.
Now, Juszczyk is obviously a guy that you really want on your football team. Listen to this about leadership from Kyle Juszczyk.
There's kind of times where certain people speak up, but you'll see a lot of those fourth and fifth year guys now that are breaking down the team before we get out there and start practice. And, you love to see that. You love to see guys take the initiative, go in the middle of the circle, they have something they feel like they need to tell the team that motivate them for that day. So you just love to see guys take initiative and understand that we can all be leaders on this team. And that's actually one of the best things that I had somebody tell me years earlier when I wasn't a captain on the team was that you don't have to be a captain to be a leader. And I think you see that with this team, that it's a room full of leaders, and whether they have a C on their chest, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, people are going to follow the people that are doing stuff the right way and people that they respect.
Say who some of those guys might be.
Who's in their 4th or 5th year right now?
Quarterback.
Brock Purdy. I know that guy. Yeah, Brock has been stepping up for the longest time. Brock has always been outspoken and has been an incredible leader. But you definitely see that evolution each and every year where he takes on a little bit more.
Now, back to the top, I think Kyle Juszczyk can speak to this really well. Mike Brown, the Knicks coach who just won the title, was on Warriors staff when they won an NBA championship, so he's got that experience. Mike Brown talked to the 49ers, and Kyle Juszczyk went through what the NBA coach had to say.
That was so cool. Just talking about the championship teams that he's been on, just how each and every one of them had a standard, and they had a written standard that they all signed. I guess they would all go to dinner before the season started, and they would talk about what their standard was. And he told them that I would respect you more. If you don't believe in this standard, don't sign it. But if you do, let's sign it, and that way we can hold each other accountable in the good times and most importantly in the bad times on what that standard was. And I think that spoke really well to this organization, because we've always talked about having this standard here. And I think we have such a great one, and one that, like, when our head coach goes down, everyone understands what that standard is. They understand what's expected from the guy next to them, that when leaders go down, next guy in line can hop right in there, and there's not a big fall off.
Final update, Mikhail Kamara, whom the 49ers waived, he's almost certainly going to clear waivers, revert back to their injured reserve. He tore his ACL. So for the edge rusher out of Indiana, the rookie, the clock will keep on ticking on his current contract, and the 49ers will have him for 2027. All the best to him in his recovery. All right, another helmet update in the books. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We will talk to you all very soon.
49ers clinched a spot in the playoffs. Way to go, Kyle. Way to go, baby. Way to go, Niner Land. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll take that.
It was awesome. I had a great offseason. I feel like I put some good weight on, and just excited to be here and, make kicks and make as many kicks as I can so I can stay around as long as I can here. So, just late during the season, having some good weight, when it starts to get cold, just for injury purposes, hamstrings, groins, and stuff like that.